So we're gonna jump in and talk about how to network in lockdown. Abel, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start with our multifamily meetup vision. We're conducting these every 2 weeks, and we had a vision originally to start in person, shaking hands, meeting people here in San Antonio, Texas. It's good thing is it has expanded, so now we're starting to reach you at your home, wherever city, state you may be. And the goal for this is really to meet other individuals that are all aligned or on the same mission of creating wealth and passive cash flow through multifamily, and meet other investors. If you're a general partner, meet investors. If you're an investor, meet other general partners, and then eventually have a large enough network to go buy a deal together. So we are have been pushing educational content pretty much every couple of weeks. Next week, the next event on August the 19th, you'll have the information. We're going to have our first real networking session where we can talk through the hour as opposed to just education side of it. So we're excited about it, and we hope this continues on, pandemic or not, both through the internet and also live soon enough. So nice to have everyone. So that's a little bit about the Apartment Educators vision. About Apartment Educators, so who are we? We will, do the introductions for myself and Devin shortly, but wanted to introduce our sponsor. We are sponsored from Apartment Educators, who's a multifamily syndication coaching program. So there's been enough individuals that have reached out, whether personally, professionally, one way or the other, for mentoring, for coaching. And this was a platform that was started and an opportunity to give back to those that want to do the same thing that we're doing, leading and sponsoring new multifamily syndication opportunities. And so that's what Apartment Educators does, is it educates those that are interested in learning more about it. We are also an ecosystem of general partners, of investors, of people that want to gain more education in this space. And our sponsors are always accepting applications. So we have probably more than a few students that are joining us today that will be also at our networking event a couple weeks from now. So if you want to meet a few other people that are going through the classes, that have had success using the program, please reach out to Apartment Educators. You can go to the website, apartmenteducators.com. And also, if you're interested in becoming a new student, they're always accepting new applications. And thank you very much to them as well. And that's led by Devin and Ruben, are the co-founders. I'm one of the coaches for the company as well. So on the bottom of your Zoom, you should see the chat box, a Q&A box. And as opposed to sending the chat instant message, it's a little bit easier. The platform makes it great. If you have a question as we're going through this, just feel free, put a question in there. At the end of the session, we'll come back and answer each question there.
So agenda for today, we'll introduce ourselves in a little more detail, Abel and myself. We're going to talk about why multifamily, to the uninitiated, why we like this asset class. We're going to talk about where to network. We're going to talk about some networking tactics. And as Abel just mentioned, we're going to do Q&A, right? So please, as questions come up, throw them in the Q&A. It's kind of one of our favorite parts, one of my favorite parts of these live presentations, even if we're not able to be in person. I love fielding Q&A, and that kind of keeps things fresh for us. So anything multifamily related, you have questions, pop them in the Q&A box. So we'll jump ahead and do a quick little intro on us. My name is Devin Elder. I am the co-founder of apartmenteducators.com. I'm also the principal of DJE Texas Management Group. We are a San Antonio-based, vertically integrated multifamily investment firm. I've got personally a principal role in over 2,000 doors, mostly in Central Texas. And we manage a lot of those, and it's been great. So we've got, portfolio's got a valuation of over $130 million at last count. We sold a couple of deals recently. We're buying a deal. So that number's kind of always in flux. But I started out after college in the corporate world, did that for about a decade. And then I realized that wasn't going to get me to my goals in terms of financial freedom. So I became an entrepreneur. Real estate was the way for me, and it's been a fantastic ride. So why am I here today on my lunch break talking to you guys? It's because multifamily investing is a team sport. So there's a high likelihood that somebody on this call I'll have a developing relationship with and become a partner of theirs, or invest with them, or they invest with us, et cetera. And so I'm always building my network, and that's what part of this is as well. And it goes both ways. We've got investors in our projects. I'm a passive investor. I'm a key principal on other people's deals. I want to be in as many deals as I can possibly be in, and that doesn't just happen. I get LinkedIn messages from random strangers asking me to invest in their deals, and it's like there's no way I would just say yes off a LinkedIn message. I mean, there's like years in some cases of relationship building. So that's why I'm here, to build relationships, and also hopefully, contribute some value to everybody that's on their apartment investing journey.
The speed of trust must it must be built over time before investing in a deal. So that good note as we're talking about how to network today. But my name is Abel Pacheco. I'm the president and principal of 5 Talents Commercial Real Estate. Like Devin, we're invested in commercial real estate. So I've been an investor since 2008. I worked in the professional IT world for a number of years, 12, 13 years. If you're in San Antonio, you know me from, or you know of Rackspace and may know me from there. But I invested while I was a full-time employee. And today I'm in about 865 doors of multifamily commercial real estate. Half of that, I'm a passive investor, meaning I started first investing passively in someone else's deal, leveraged their time, expertise, and knowledge for a great passive return. And I am also a general partner, now active in about the other half of those deals. And same reason for Devin, or the Devin's here, is, and I'm looking to meet new investors, new potential partners, new individuals that can help advance both their career, my career together. It's a team sport. So that's one of the biggest reasons that we do this. Push out education. And you'll find in this topic why we do this in a minute, but that's what we're doing. We're hoping to create that network and expand it. And then helping others and giving back is a big part of who I am and what I do. A lot of people, including Devin and some of the team members that I've worked with, have helped me to gain knowledge, to gain the education, so that I can push forward and create a portfolio for myself in CRE. So I love to give back and help the next person coming up. And if we can work together and then help and create additional cash flow and wealth for each other, I'm super for that. So I'm all for that. So anyways, that's a little bit about me. Nice to meet you guys. So we'll continue on. I like the way Devin says it. For the uninitiated, if you've never invested in multifamily before, we'll just cover it real quick. We invest in larger multifamily commercial apartment complexes, whichever term you want to call it. It's really housing, and it's a basic need. And the real estate itself operates much like a residential property in the fact that people go and they need a place to stay and they pay rent and they live there. The only difference, or that what makes it really commercial, is the fact that it's 5 units or greater, and we're not looking for 5 or 10 or 15, 20 doors. We're trying to look for 100+ unit multifamily, and then we syndicate them. We essentially put them all together, raise capital, work together as a team, and buy something bigger than what we would have been able to buy on our own. We do this for a cash flow and equity. Just like any other property, we're looking for the net positive cash flow, the difference between your mortgage and basically the profit. So that's the cash flow, and then also the equity side of it. Over time, the property increases in value, increases in NOI, our valuation of the deal goes up, and so we make equity, and we all split that. As a passive investor, if you have a W-2, a full-time job, you're great at your profession, you're earning well today, you may realize to quote unquote invest in real estate. A lot of people's head goes to single family, and you may realize I make 50, 75, $100 an hour at my W-2, But if I'm buying $100,000 property for a flip or for rehab or renovation, I may be trading my $100 an hour job for a $20 an hour job, which just doesn't make any sense, which is why we like multifamily. It allows us to invest passively and leverage somebody else's expertise as that investment. And then for those that have realized, hey, I want to do that again and again, over and over, there's the active side. They want to be general partners and they want to lead the deal. And so we do that also for tax benefits. For those W-2 employees that want to reduce their taxable income, this is a great way to provide paper losses. Even though the property is doing well, it negates some of your W-2 withholdings, which reduces your taxable income, which gives you a better return at the end of the year. Every investment that you put in creates a loss for you. And then ultimately it's a really safe asset. Like we mentioned, housing. So even in today's volatile market, we need some place to lay our heads every day. And that's why we like multifamily. So we'll just keep pushing forward here. And I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Devin.
Yeah. So certainly since March, lots of things have changed right now. Much of it remains the same. We're very pleased with our occupancy and collections across our whole portfolio. I mean, incredibly pleased with how that's held up, but lots of things have changed. Apartment Educators is one. We were doing monthly events in San Antonio where we'd have close to 100 people out there, all specifically interested in multifamily investing, not a meetup where there was wholesalers and every manner of interested party out there. This is apartment investing folks that were coming out. So those were canceled. So we've adapted by doing events like this. I'm a big fan of lunch meetings. Haven't been doing a lot of those in the last couple of months. I'm a big fan of going to conferences, speaking at conferences, meeting different folks, and those have been canceled. So how do we overcome some of those things? There is no substitute for face-to-face interaction for building relationships, right? We know that, and we can't wait to get back to that. But that said, that's not a reason to crawl in our shell and just wait out the tide, And I think that I've gotten questions for years from investors. Is this a good time to invest? Is this a good time to invest? At every turn, right? Is this a good time to invest? My answer is it's always a time to invest. You got to find the right deal, and the numbers have to make sense. But I'm a professional investor. I am always investing. If I was trying to wait things out or time the market, I might be on the sidelines forever. So same thing with networking. I'm always networking. Yes, it's changed, but we're going to talk about some specific strategies to overcome the current situation that we're in.
Yeah. So let's see. At a high level premise, we're going to start high level and give you an idea of all the platforms, and then we're going to grill it or drill down to the actual tactics of what you should do and how you should do it, right? So for those that don't know, they're virtual events. If you're on this platform today, we found you somewhere on the internet. You heard about it through Facebook or LinkedIn or one of the areas. So we're happy you're here. If you don't know how to go find more, there are other virtual events, other operators, syndicators, other people that are giving away education for free online. And that is just an amazing area. So I'll talk about how in a shortly, but social media, Facebook, all the different platforms, Twitter and that type of thing. The online communities that you can join today are countless. There are a ton of them in every city that you're in our city, for single family, multifamily, or if you guys are in IT and you want to network with other IT professionals, right? So a lot of different online communities, and there are still conferences that are happening today. Even I've seen one or two that are in person, and I saw the seats every 6 feet apart, which is different. But I'm also talking about virtual online conferences. These are still paid events where you can join, and they're 2 or 3 days, and they've got a lot of great speakers. And now I've seen some really great online platforms where there's a virtual room, and you can go into each room or table at the conference and start to network a little bit. So we'll dive into this a little further. Let's keep going through these slides here. So what are the social media platforms, right? You know them again: LinkedIn, Facebook, Meetup, Twitter, and others. So LinkedIn, for the most part, has a lot. It's focused on professional professions, career, job, business type. Facebook, you're going to have a lot more personal sharing. If you haven't gone to Meetup, meetup.com is just a really great platform for you to join. And then Twitter, new for me, but I'm trying to push out a little bit of content there, and I'm starting to engage and have other people engage on my platform, and many others. So, I saw the news for Microsoft potentially buying TikTok, which is different. And, just there's a huge user base. So the first thing is you have to know, man, if you're not on any of these platforms, you should probably join. If you're like my wife, and forgive me if you're watching, babe, but she doesn't like to post a lot of personal items like pictures of our children, and she just doesn't. And that's okay. She has kind of overcome some of that and realizes that everything's out there anyways, one shape, form, or another, which is, it's a good and bad of the time and the day. But if you are trying to network, trying to meet other people, and trying to figure out a way to do that in today's age of technology and pandemic, and this is the route. So before we go on, Devin, anything to add here?
I would say pick a platform or two and get good at them. It's tempting to be on everything. Social media quickly can become overwhelming. So, I've seen success with picking a platform or two and sticking to those.
So that's all great points. On that note, a little bit further in, we'll talk about the difference between how you should treat Facebook differently versus LinkedIn. But I just jumped on Twitter, and now I'm like barely doing anything on Twitter because I haven't really learned it, where I'm like heavily on LinkedIn and trying to do a little bit on Facebook. But you'll realize that each one has their own intricacy or different user kind of preferences. So you're trying to cater to each one, and that's kind of what Devin's talking about there. So let's move to our next slide here so we dig in. So meetups and conferences, how do you find, whether it's a new group, a new meetup, a new conference, how do you actually do that? If you're old school, new school, I think like me, the reason I say this, I worked at an IT hosting company for 13 years. I sold some really cutting edge technology. However, like at the house, man, I am like not technology focused. And I used to tell my wife, I go, oh, the little pound sign. What's that little pound sign? It's actually a hashtag. For those that don't know, you can go with the hashtag and search for hashtag whatever topic you want to find. Hashtag multifamily, hashtag NOI, hashtag commercial real estate, hashtag real estate investing, whatever kind of hashtag you want, wherever topic you're looking for, that is an opportunity to go look for different content. So if you're on Facebook, you can do it. If you're on LinkedIn, if whatever, just general Google search, that will lead you to a lot of different providers of content, of education, and information. Maybe it's somebody like myself and Devin. I bet you we have a lot of multifamily out there, and we'll probably come up somewhere in those feeds. You may find, wanting to learn more about asset management or Excel, just Excel work, or hashtag networking. So there's another way to meet other people that are saying, hey, I want to network. You want to network. I followed your post. I saw something that said hashtag networking, and I wanted to connect with you, right? So this is just one high-level way. If you don't know how to find a new group, a new team, a new whatever networking, whether it's real estate or anything else, you can go find that there. And what I always lead with is whenever I'm finding new people to network with, especially online, I've never met them before, I always think about in Stephen Covey's book, I think it's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He talks about this emotional bank account, and this emotional bank account that we build with each other. It's literally a bank account that I'm either depositing into this account, and I'm doing it as a positive deposit, or I'm withdrawing from a relationship. Sorry, babe, talking about you again. So if me and my wife, if I forget to take out the trash on a Wednesday and she grills me for it, that was definitely a withdrawal in our relationship. If I take out the trash and she doesn't have to tell me and everything's good, deposit deposit. Some of you guys know that just in your everyday, relationships. I'm like, well, I'm better be preemptive. I've heard a preemptive strike so that you can go out for the weekend or whatever with, whatever you want to do. So apply that same principle to an online networking event or an online network, a content creator, a new partner, somebody that you want to network with. And the easiest way to do that is to like and engage on some of their posts. If you want to network with me or Devin, any one of us, I'll tell you what's going to provide me value. I'm pushing out these little videos. I'm trying to post content, and I want more followers, and I want more people to kind of like and engage and act. So if somebody likes one of my posts, puts a thoughtful comment, hey, this resonates with me, really enjoyed it, thanks for sharing. The more value you can create as a like and a comment, more importantly, or both, if you can do that, I'm going to start to notice, hey man, this individual has commented and liked and engaged on my last 5 posts. So once you start to do that, you're going to provide instant value to somebody that's creating content. If you like and share this video, our content, Apartment Educators is going to know, and start to engage with you and say, we really appreciate this person. Every single webinar, every single event, at our next networking event on August 19th, this person shared it twice on 2 different groups to try to bring us traffic. We're going to take notice and say, who is that person trying to help us expand our brand or platform? So just reverse that and say, well, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help them expand their platform, and it will create value. Gary V, I think if you guys aren't following, he's a good one to follow. Gary Vaynerchuk, I think. Gary V. Anyways, you can look at him. He's like, he'll give you way more than we're giving you today. One of the things that I took from him was, when you say, hey, I'm going to leave my 2 cents. I'll put my 2 cents in on this post. I literally leave a comment, and that's my 2 cents. He does something like I leave $1 worth of of comments every single week or month or whatever it is, and I go, well, I'm not going to post 50 times. That definitely won't me, because that can turn into a full-time job in of itself. But if I can put in 10 cents a day, 5 post linked interaction, engagement, comments, then 5 times a day, other people that I don't know are going to look at my post and say, you know what, I resonate. Abel's post or engagement really resonated with me. Who is this guy? They go to my profile. They're going to look at some of the content. They're going to start to consume some of the videos. They'll see, oh, we have a goal of giving back and helping others. And, oh, who's Devin? And Devin's partnered with us. And who's DJE? And who's Apartment Educators? They start to take notice. And pretty soon our own platform starts to grow. And you want to apply the same exact thing. You want to be able to leave your 2 cents and leave enough of it in a few different places. So that's kind of the meat of this networking tactic. Provide value first, do so as much as possible, and share as much value as you can. So we'll talk about the negative points or some other things in a minute. But Devin, I'm sure you have your own too. I mean, you're pretty active out there in the community on different platforms, and I see everything going. What's your take here?
You mentioned it, Abel, but it's to give first without any expectation of receiving, right? That's the name of the game. So, I think people inherently kind of understand that with social media, but I get these inbox messages that just go straight for the throat, and that's never going to happen, right? I mean, it's never going to happen. You got to provide value first. That's our first bullet point there. I just want to underscore that.
Yep. All right, great. So let's keep moving here. These are some of the tactics, right? Well, the tactics that we're doing, like engaging, providing value, eventually I want some of these same individuals that like engage to look at my content or my Facebook page, my LinkedIn page, my website, and I want them to be able to say, you know what, this is a person that I feel is trustworthy, has high credibility in the in our market, and I'd like to go reach out to him. I'd like to connect with him. So really, as we're thinking about networking, you know, people that don't do this regularly, you may be thinking of exactly what Devin said. I've got to reach out to somebody and ask them to invest in my deal. I've got to reach out to somebody and try to sell my product. I've got to reach out to somebody and put a sales pitch together. And that's really the exact opposite of what you should be going for, in my opinion. If you want to network with somebody and build a meaningful relationship with somebody that you've never met over online, what Devin said is key. You're providing value first. And when you've done that, eventually what's going to happen is they're going to take an interest in you and see what you're about. And this is where you want essentially your platform, your public visible space, your website, if you have one. If you don't, you can make yourname.com. I would recommend it. Haven't done mine yet, but I will. But I have 5TCRE, 5 Talents Commercial Real Estate. We have our LinkedIn page. We have our Facebook page. Facebook and LinkedIn both allow you to create your own free business page in addition to your personal page. So we're not talking about creating a new website, just creating a business page, which you can then create that content yourself and push it out there. People want to know about your business. If they're interested in you and you've provided them value, they want to know about you personally. They want to know what communities you're in. Are you a churchgoer, or are you Republican? Are you Democrat? Or are you, you know, I don't know. Do you like to go ice skating? You know, and we can't do that now with the pandemic. Are you in Texas? Do you have a pool? Yes, I enjoy. You have multiple kids, family. So do I. They want to find that relation point. Are you an IT guy? Oh, I'm an IT guy also. So how can I connect with you before I even have a conversation with you? I think is really a goal here. When they're coming back to say, hey, is this somebody that I actually want to connect with and seriously network? Do I have some of the same values that that they do? And, you know, there is somebody to connect with every single person, no matter what values you have, right? They don't have to be aligned with mine. If yours don't resonate with me, we probably won't connect. If yours, you know, resonate with somebody that's on the other side of the page, a spectrum of life, those two people will connect, and you'll find that they've said, your vibe is your tribe. So be yourself, be the person that, you know, exactly who you are. Your family, your friends, they know you best. And other people that enjoy you for the way you are, they're going to find you, and they're going to find out, oh, this is what they do in business, and this is their community. And so on this posting portion, we're talking about networking today. We're usually talking about commercial real estate in one shape or form, right? But maybe you're trying to break into the commercial real estate world, and you're trying to establish new general partners and trying to raise capital potentially from people to help you go do a new deal. If you're newer, you may not be an expert at underwriting analysis, market, you know, market analysis, and try to figure out, well, how do I find a good deal? If that's not you, that's okay. Start with your journey. What have you done in commercial real estate? Are you a new student? Have you just started podcasting? Have you started consuming podcasts? Have you started reading a book? Man, take a minute and blog about a video, record that, and create a, you know, video piece of content that says, I'm new to commercial real estate. I just started. I watched a new podcast. It was 45 minutes on this topic. I thought it was great. I want to, you know, provide this value to somebody else that's on my same journey. And you can connect, like, you know, for example, connect Abel Pacheco, connect Devin, connect us. And then all of a sudden your post goes out with a short video. Other people are watching your content and they're in the same position you are. And you've helped them learn how to take the next step in their journey, while also providing value to the person creating the podcast and the person interviewing on it. And that's one great way just to start sharing that post. So, you know, if you're not the person educating, you can connect others to the source of information. And now you're the valuable person. You're the person that's creating value. So there's probably a lot more here. Let me pause and just see, you know, what Devin has to say here. But, you know, that's one good point on posting.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I would personally steer clear of anything politics related, just safer. As tempting as it might be. If
Woo!
you're raising capital or you're getting a diverse cross section of people to go in together on a project, steer clear of politics.
That's a good point. And I'll tell you, that's funny, right? Your vibe is your tribe. So like, you know, people say don't talk about religion. Oh man, if you go to my stuff, you're gonna find it all over the place. And it's just, it is what it is, right?
That's right.
But the point is, like, people will follow you based on, you know, who you are, or not follow you at all and never network with you because they say, you know what, I don't like this individual because he has these viewpoints on commercial real estate, whether I should be aggressive and you know, go for the jugular, go for the big win, or am I super conservative? And just you talking about either one, you're going to have some investors, you know, potentially they're looking at you and going, nah, I don't want to be with this guy. He's too risky. Or no, I want to talk to him because he's very conservative and that's his mindset. So, you know, whoever you are, put it out there because you're going to attract exactly, you know, people like that vibe with you. Right. So start posting, don't wait. You don't have to be an expert, you know, just share something valuable with other people. And I think that will draw more visibility and attention to you. I know it has for me. So let's keep going through this.
There is one point I want to make on that too, Abel. You know, instead of trying to have a completely baked strategy, just start, because, you know, it can be nerve wracking. And especially like Abel, I've noticed you do all this video now, right? And that wasn't just flipping a switch and you were great at videos, right? That's some work to get over the discomfort of doing that. But as you start, you just start where you are and you're going to build that muscle over time. And then before you know it, you know, you're going to have all these videos out there, or you're going to have, you know, whatever the case is. So it's okay to not have a perfect plan. It's okay to not be 100% confident, but by starting, we actually get better through doing. We don't get better through thinking about it for a year. We get better by doing, getting real world feedback and iterating. You know, we kind of have a process in our companies where we try to get something 80% done and out the door. And then when it's out the door, then we're going to get real world feedback and we can iterate and improve. And that's just how things work. So it's tempting to want to have something perfect. Just know that's not going to be the case. Just start and then improve over time based on real world feedback.
Yeah, that's great. If you heard me in the past, you may have said, oh, you may have heard me say, anytime in the past when I had a video, anything, I would cheese up and it was hard to get my words out, and overcoming that every single time I jump in front of a recording now. And but anyways, so it really does, makes a difference. Just try it, just start it. You're going to be horrible the first time, second time, who cares? Just like anything else. You know, nobody learned to ride a bike, you know, on the first try. You fell a few times and nobody became an expert by not failing over and over and over again. It's you got to do that. So anyways, so what should you post? How much should you post? And, you know, give me some tips here, right? So we've created a couple of them to give you an idea of different type of platforms and the quantity of information, or the percentage of your post in each of these categories. People do want to follow you. If they like you and trust you, they're going to want to connect and, you know, reach out, build a relationship. It's just what happens, right? I've heard, and this year, there's three things, right? To create, and I heard this over years for sales. It's people buy from people they know, like, and trust. If you're a salesperson, you know this. If you are new to social or marketing presence, you're gonna hear the same. But what I did hear was the question was asked, what's most important? That they know you, that they like you, or trust you? And if you're on here, if you put a chat, I'd love to see your, on the Q&A, I'd love to see your votes. Know, like, or trust you. Which one do you think is the most important? Give it a second. I initially answered with, I think some of you guys are putting in there. Yeah. Okay. Before I say my word here, trust is one that I saw of over a few times pop up. I agree. I thought it was trust. But what I learned, and I really gravitated towards this year, is that if they don't know you, they're never going to be able to like and trust you anyways. So you got to get this stuff out there. Otherwise, people have no idea that you're in business, that you're doing what you do, so they got to know you first, then they can like you and trust you. Okay, so back to social tips here. If you're on LinkedIn, business platform, put out 60% of your content and do it in a business form. If you're working a full-time W-2 day job, put it out there. They got to know what you do. If you're a commercial real estate investor, part-time, full-time, put both out there. I know it can be a little tricky with work, but I did it. I encourage you, if you're serious about real estate, you may want to do it also, but 60% of your content should be business related. That's what you're on LinkedIn for. Very much skewed towards that, but people still want to know who you are. So I put 20% like your community involvement. Do you give back? Do you help others? Are you involved in, one nonprofit versus another, or what your community is? Like your community may not have anything to do with nonprofit, but your community may be like, I'm in, I'm trying to think of some of the ones that, okay, like Toastmasters. This is my community. Your public speaking, our community for commercial real estate investors. This is our meetup. This is our community. So think about it, a broad spectrum, share some of that. They do want to know who you are personally. If you don't want to share politics or religion, I understand. Football, sports, activities, your family, what do you like, enjoy, share 10% of it personal, and 10% could be miscellaneous. Like, you saw something that was off the wall and, thought you would share, right? So that's kind of a good underlying premise. You don't want to be 100% business all the time. You don't want to be 100% personal on a business platform either. And let's move to the Facebook percentages to give you an idea. Facebook on the flip side, it's exactly the opposite, not exactly the opposite. It is less on business. You want to share more on community, more on personal, more on miscellaneous, right? Now, if your goal is to raise millions of dollars to close commercial real estate deals, you may want to be careful on your miscellaneous posts, as Devin mentioned earlier, because you may rub somebody wrong, very quickly. But I still want to share like who I am, what I'm about. And I'm sharing business topics on Facebook because there are, business people that like to veg out for a minute and, unwind and, sit back on a couch. They've been with their kids, they've had dinner. And now you're like, okay, what the heck is going on in the world today? I can't travel anymore. I can't go meet with people. And more people are going to social platforms. TikTok was crazy. It's got the hugest growth, as did Netflix and some of the, anyways. So social tips here, 40% business, 20% community, 20% personal, and 20% miscellaneous. So that should give you a good idea of what you like, how much of this content should you post. Devin, any thoughts on any of that stuff?
No, I think that's great.
Right on. So let's keep pushing forward here. And then, so there are all these amazing traditional methods that I think we forget about from time to time. As a sales Johnny for 13 years in IT hosting, right? I had all
At a
the
company that's going public today, I might add. Again.
Oh, congratulations.
I won't say which company, but they're going public today.
Yeah, they're going public again. Here we go. So, that career started for me with a Cutco sales job. If anybody's heard of Cutco, I sold knives. And what I did was I did in-home presentations, and I looked for married couples with kids that were ages 30 to 50. And that was the target market for people who bought Cutco knives. And I was an 18-year-old college kid, 20-year-old college kid. Anyways, I made a business. I sold hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of knives for 6 years, paid my way through college, and I made a business by asking for referrals. That's all I did. I met with somebody, showed them the product, told them they didn't have to buy, told them they helped me just by, looking at it. But ultimately, I was a connector. I helped other people connect with others, and then I asked for referrals, and they connected me also. So when I was younger, I asked for referrals. I was nice to them, treated everyone with respect, and got more appointments, right? And I did that for years and years and years. In the professional world today, you can ask for referrals after every single engagement, anybody you talk to, whether it's in real estate or your profession today. If you're looking for more clients, you're looking for more investors, you're looking for more partners, the best question at the end of every conversation is, hey, who else do you know that I may be able to connect with for this type of partnership, for this type of service, for this kind of client? Who else do you know that you may be able to connect me with, man? Because I would really appreciate any referrals. Just ask. Even if 9 people tell you no, one person's going to say yes, and they're going to connect you with an ideal person for you to connect with, and it's going to take you to the next big deal, big opportunity, big investor, big whatever it is, new job, new opportunity. And be a connector. Ask for referrals. Here's on the flip side, we're talking about social. How do you do this on social today? With unemployment rising, there are a lot of people today that have said, hey, I'm looking for a new job. It's in their title. If I'm unemployed and I'm looking for it's like looking for a new role. Or they'll put a post, or somebody else will tag them and say, hey, John's looking for a new role. Take a few moments, connect with them, and tell them, hey, I saw that you're looking for a new role. Let me connect you with another company that I think was hiring. Copy them, engage them, and again, like Devin mentioned, we're doing this not because we're trying to get something from someone. We are trying to provide more value upfront in advance without expecting anything in return. Because I may never get anything from that, connection, but I guarantee you, if you're one of the individuals that thinks from a higher, higher position, every good deed, everything you put out there is going to come right back. So that the next introduction may be a referral to you that was completely unrelated, but because you took the time to connect someone else, let's say you're, an investor, you're talking to them, you're trying to raise capital for commercial real estate, but they only invest in Seattle. They only invest in Chicago. And you're like, oh, I'm only a buyer in Texas, so I can't connect you. Well, take a note, write it down. And the next time you meet a general partner that's doing deals in Seattle or Chicago or Washington, somewhere else that you're not, connect those 2 people and say, hey, John, let me introduce you to Sue. You guys are doing deals in Seattle and you want to invest there. You both live in some other state. Let me introduce you. And now you're providing more value than what was expected. So be a connector. I think that's a great point. So let me pause for a minute. And Devin, I know you had some items on the value when things are rare, man.
If you think about why things are valuable, and I'll use the aluminum example, right? Where aluminum used to be the metal that the king's fork was made of because it was so rare and precious, right? And now it's not rare, it's everywhere, and aluminum is trash that we ball up and throw away after we use it. So things are valuable when they're rare. Mail used to be ubiquitous and people got mail and did a lot of business through mail. That's not the case now anymore, right? Mail is extremely rare, or mail that you want to get is extremely rare. And because it's rare, it's valuable. So if you write somebody a thank you note or you send them a gift in the mail, that is absolutely going to stand out. And it's not hard and it's not expensive, but because it's rare, it's valuable and people really appreciate that. So those are things, that you can use to connect with people or make an impression in this time of social distancing. And you can have a valuable impact on somebody without having a face-to-face interaction. So I'm a big fan of that. The Giftology book talks about this a lot. But another thing I wanted to just kind of piggyback on what Abel said, in terms of adding value, you need to approach this with an abundance mentality. And I see this getting talked about a lot, which is great, but a lot of people have a scarcity mentality by default. And that's totally understandable. For just about all of human history, resources were very scarce, right? Food or whatever the case is. Every resources were scarce, and it was a matter of life and death. That's not really the case anymore today. We live in an era of complete abundance. And so that's going to apply to relationships too. So it might be a inclination for you to not make an introduction or to keep that relationship private. And I've found that people that play the opposite, that are connectors, they exponentially grow their network. You know, there's other operators and syndicators that introduce me to their investors, and they invest in my deals, and vice versa. And there's so much capital and so many deals out there to do, and sometimes it can be discouraging, and you revert back to that scarcity mentality. But I just wanted to underscore that you want to embrace an abundance mentality here, because the bigger your network grows and the more people have a high opinion of you, the better off everybody's going to be.
Man, that's awesome. That's exactly right. I'll to add on, man. I mean, everything you said was spot on. But if you're thinking about it from Devin's mindset, you know, sometimes you may be worried. Oh, well, there's only so many investors in this type of opportunity, and I'm worried that if I introduce them, then they're not going to invest in my deals. I'm like, man, we're really not competing with like each other or different deals. If you're a general partner on this video right now, and even if we're doing deals in San Antonio right now, you're really not competing with us. What you're really competing with is like, and I heard this yesterday, it made perfect sense. The people that you're competing with are not people, they're actually things. They're like, I have 50 or 100K and I'm thinking about, you know, buying a bigger house. I think I'm thinking about how to change my lifestyle and, you know, have a nicer car, or I'm thinking about this luxury vacation or luxury item, or I'm thinking about, and they may not say I'm going to blow my money, but they're thinking about all these other things that instead of investing in their future for passive cash flow, for financial freedom, they may be thinking about, where do I spend this other 50K that's going to give me something else that I want? And that's really what we're competing with. And if we can help enough people, educate them on, man, there's some magic to passive cash flow, especially through commercial real estate. When we're investing, I help you avoid taxes, and you're providing that education. You know, it's not a scarcity mindset, like Devin said, it's an abundance one. And I think I've seen, you know, I can attest personally, just, you know, have had great growth by, you know, giving away, introducing, you know, pushing people towards, and then as Devin mentioned, man, I believe that I've created value for myself, education, knowledge, experience, you know, in doing so. So yeah, that's great, Devin. Thanks, man. A couple other things on the traditional methods. If you're already an established partnership team, if you're here and you're like, yeah, I know all of this, what else can I do? Well, if you have an investor book of business and your company is doing well, man, there's something to be said about those handwritten notes, those handwritten cards, those congratulatory awards every time they invested in a deal. I know Devin's good at this stuff. We've got some Cutco, and I got some awards. I've seen some challenge coins, those little coins, and you're like, hey man, thank you. I know, you know, I've heard of some other groups do, like what Devin said, mailing out newsletters, physical newsletters once a month. So all of those things are great to stay in touch with your existing network. If you've taken a lot of time over the months, years, and career that you've built up, you have an existing network today, but potentially you're not providing any value to somebody you met 5 years ago and 10 years ago. And because there's no value there, they've dismissed the relationship, which may have taken you 10 years to build up in the first place. So that's a great point to start, is your existing network, and start sewing into that, and ask some people how they're doing, you know, and help them right now. So I think that could help. And then there's paid services. if you want to have all your customers and somebody to market to them, continue with the network, and, you know, help them. I think that those are all options for you, and how to network today. So I think that was really the meat of the topic today. If you have any other questions, but while we're getting ready for Q&A, or thoughts or strategies or anything you want to share, put it in the Q&A section so we can see you and comment. But let's see, do we have any questions coming in?
I think while people are getting ready to type in Q&A, we can talk about the next event that we have teed up here. It's August 19th at 12 p.m. Central. This is a multifamily virtual networking event. So we're going to put into practice some of the things we talked about today, but you actually get a chance to break out into some breakout rooms and connect with people that are interested in the multifamily space from a variety of perspectives. And so you can register for that at apartmenteducators.com/events. And be sure to like us on Facebook, Apartment Educators, if you haven't already, because we push out a lot of great content. So you're going to kind of get some education on a daily basis there. But we also post our events and do our live streams, et cetera. So go like us on Facebook and be sure to register for the August 19th event right there on the apartmenteducators.com page. You can always go to that events tab and see the latest thing that's going on. We've been doing 1 or 2 events every month, virtual events. And before too long here, we're going to be doing live events where we can get out and get 80 to 100 plus like-minded folks in a room together to all be networking and learning from each other. So that's going to be coming up soon, but go like us on Facebook, go register for the events at apartmenteducators.com. I have a question here. Do you recommend using your personal Facebook social media account for networking for real estate, or is it recommended to make a business named page? It's a great question. And there are some big personalities that use a personal page. So it's going to be a personal preference, right? If you want to build it on your own name, that's fine. I have built social pages for my company. I like to keep my Facebook mostly personal, although we'll post some business wins there from time to time. But my personal philosophy is I'm not going to spam it with too much business. I kind of keep it personal. I've also seen other people grow kind of past their personal friend limit on Facebook and create, a personality page or a business page. So I think it's okay in the beginning just to start with your own personal. And then as that grows, you can branch out into a page for the business. Now, if you do actually have a company and a logo and a brand, for sure, go lock up all the social media platforms. Go lock up your LinkedIn page. Go lock up your Facebook page, your Instagram page, if nothing else, but just to have that property locked up.
I'd agree with Devin. To create it, whether or not you're using it or not, maybe something else. But if you want to create a bunch of business content and you're worried or don't want to post it on your personal, like for Facebook, for example, that's a great way to do it, because now your personal page that may have a lot of your friends and family and, maybe, you're concerned with that. So you don't have to share your business on your personal side, but you can sure share it through your business side. Once you're growing a little bit more, maybe you have an assistant, maybe you have a marketing company or virtual assistant, somebody to help you market. And that may be like once a day, boom, 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 coming out, content. You definitely, that would break the rule that I mentioned for the percentages for Facebook or even LinkedIn, right? So I think that will help you overcome some of that uneasiness. And then, if you have your business content and you really find there's one post or one piece of content that just had a massive engagement, you can share it from your personal page and share your business page and then share that over. And that was the one that, you decide to share out of the 10 posts. One did really great. You share that on your personal, and, that may be a good way to do it. And then I do the same on LinkedIn. I do the same on Facebook. If you go check me out, you might get an idea.
So we got a question here. If you're just getting started investing passively, but knowing that you want to work towards being a sponsor, would you advocate for getting your own domain web presence sooner than later? 100%. So, if you're still thinking of a name and everything, take your time to do that, right? But once you got a name, start today and at least lock up a domain name for $11 a year and go to Fiverr and get a logo done, right? Because if your goal is to be an operator, that's a lot to do, and you can absolutely grow towards that, but you want to start on that sooner than later.
I picked this up from you, Devin. I don't know if you remember. I told you, hey man, my goal is to become a general partner in my first multifamily deal, and I had invested passively once, and you said start raising capital now. I go, well, I don't have a deal. I don't know how to do that, and you said, you don't have to like literally take money. What you're doing is you're creating that brand presence, just like you said, and you're going through those motions because you want to start those conversations, figure out, who is a potential investor in the future. And you don't want to wait until you finally have a deal a year from now to try to start raising capital. You want to, have these conversations up to that point, up to a year. And now when the deal comes, then you're like, okay, this is great. So 6 months, a year from now, you can start doing this today, and you'll have, well, I had, and I'm sure that others have the same, is every time I would post, hey, we're new owners in this 120 whatever unit apartment complex. And, it's my first one in Seguin, Texas with Mr. DJE, Devin. And I would post that and people were like, how in the world do you own that? What's going on? And again, this was like my networking. I share some of the stuff that I kind of fell into by default, but I would post that and people would come back and they would ask me how. And those are the conversations that I kept up with. That's how I networked, because a lot of people came and asked me how I was doing that. So I followed Devin's, the lead there, created a website, created the page, did a little business card, and just kind of use that a lot. And that's eventually people started finding me, realizing what I do. And, later in the future, the first opportunity came up and I was prepared because I had been preparing, the months and year prior.
Yeah. And you can use, let's say you are a passive investor to start. And that's actually what I recommend. If you want to be a sponsor, you start as a passive investor, then get on a general partnership, then become a sponsor. That process has worked countless times for countless people. So if you are a passive investor, but you have XYZ Capital company that you set up, even if it's just a domain name, you can start to have content from your passive investment. Hey, this is a project I'm a limited partner in this market. And, you don't want to share anything confidential, obviously, but you could share general updates. This is a new, we resurfaced the pool, or here's our office remodel. Now, you didn't do the work. The general partner did it. And you're just a limited partner, but you can share those types of things as a passive investor. And if your goal is to become a sponsor, you're going to learn a lot as a passive investor. So it's okay to share some of those things. I would just check with the sponsor first, make sure it's okay to share. But, that's a way to start sharing content on a deal that you're in, even if you're just to have a small piece of a limited partner interest in it.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. What else?
I know we're just about at time here. So we'll probably wrap up. I wanted to let everybody know, just to reiterate, August 19th, we've got an event at noon. So register for that at apartmenteducators.com. And we hope to be seeing all you guys out in person soon. But until that happens, we've got lots of great content on these events scheduled for you. And we'll keep those coming. Thanks for jumping on today, guys. Really appreciate it.
All right, bye, guys. Bye, everyone and gals. See ya.